We're gonna wrap up this Jangle Pop series today with part 3. Thank you to all of 20 people who expressed an interest in seeing a part 3. I'm going to be focusing on the Paisley Underground movement for a majority of this video. Also, I'm gonna show some other bands that maybe I forgot to mention or bring to light in my first 2 installments. So if you don't know what Jangle Pop is, I have 2 other parts, so you can go back and check those out. I will put them in my description box below. Also, there might be a little link box showing up above my face piece. So go ahead and check those out if you're curious or if you want a little bit of a background on Jangle Pop. One of the things I love to do is investigate other bands that are similar to bands that I already enjoy. And that's kind of why we love music so much, right? There's just so much of it, it's never ending. That being said, let's jump right into the Paisley Underground. So what the heck is the Paisley Underground? The Paisley Underground is an important Jangle Pop movement of the 80s where bands really brought some of those psychedelic influences to the forefront. You still have the influence of the Byrds and the band Love, very plentiful, but you're also bringing in some of the Doors influences with the organ, especially with a band called Green on Red, who I'm going to mention later on. The whole point was to keep that 60s sound alive with the jangle, with the folk, with the psychedelia. The Paisley Underground was a term or a phrase that was coined by Michael Quercio, who was the leader and founder of the Salvation Army, who later became the 3 O'Clock. So that phrase was coined in 1982, and it basically applies to the Dream Syndicate, the Bangles, Rain Parade, and the Salvation Army, that particular group of bands in the LA sector at the time. So I just mentioned the 3 O'Clock, so I'm just gonna start off with them. And I'm gonna show you the pieces that I have in my collection. And that's kind of what I'm doing here, is I'm not featuring every single Jangle Pop band on the planet that has ever existed. I'm showing you what's in my collection, what I enjoy, and maybe you'll want to check out some of these bands in the future or recommend some other bands to me. So the 3 O'Clock, this is one of their EPs. It's called Baroque Hoedown. Found this for a decent price. With the Cantaloupe Girlfriend, that's kind of an interesting song. They cover Feel a Whole Lot Better. So this particular band, I would say they're a bit higher energy. They bring more of a power pop sound to the table. And then I have 16 Tambourines. Shout out to John at the Digital Gramophone for sending this album to me last year. This is a gem of an album. Again, it's my favorite. They had a hit with Jet Fighter on here. And then I have Ever After, which in my opinion is not as good, but still nice to have in the collection. Kind of a fun fact, if there are any Jason Faulkner fans here, he was in Jellyfish. Jason Faulkner was actually on the last 3 O'Clock album, and it was called Vermilion, and I believe it was put out by Prince's Paisley Park record label. It was kind of a flop of a record, but it's kind of a fun little tidbit. I think after that, Michael Quercio joined Game Theory for a time, and the 3 O'Clock are still pretty active today. They go on tour. I'll be showing an album later on that's kind of a collaboration LP of some of these bands covering each other's songs, so stick around for me to show that. Let's move on to the Rain Parade, which is actually my favorite Paisley Underground band. So I have several LPs to show here. Rain Parade formed in 1981. This right here is my very favorite Paisley Underground record. It's called Emergency Third Rail Power Trip. I got this at Rainy Day Records, actually. Oh, Rainy Day. You'll always be my favorite store. Rainy Day in Olympia, Washington. But yeah, this is a limited press. I'll just show it real quick because it's kind of neat. It's that orange and yellow variant right there. I've seen OG copies of this that go up to 50 bucks. This reissue was affordable and I'm happy with it. This exemplifies everything the Paisley Underground is to me. This is a masterpiece album. Probably my favorite song on here is I Look Around. I want to mention David Roback. You've probably heard that name because the guy was a genius. This is the only album that he is featured on with the Rain Parade, but he got his start here. You'll probably also recognize the name because he went on to form Opal with Kendra Smith of the Dream Syndicate, and then later on he formed Mazzy Star, and that band is one of my favorites. So unfortunately he passed away, I think earlier this year or last year, so he's no longer with us, but this album right here, y'all, this is fantastic. Other Rain Parade albums I have. This is an EP, and what a glorious EP it is. It is Explosions in the Glass Palace. I bought this and the next one off of eBay from the same vendor, so I was able to save on some shipping, which was nice. So David Roback is not featured on this, but his brother Stephen Roback was also in the band. You Are My Friend, that's a standout track. No Easy Way Down. You get lots of psychedelia on this one, and Emergency Third Rail Power Trip. Picked up this album too. It's a live album. It's called Beyond the Sunset. It's a show that was recorded in Tokyo in 1984, and that's a nice piece to have as well. This one doesn't really have the psych touches on it. It's Crashing Dream, but still a very enjoyable album, which I revisit quite frequently. So that's my Rain Parade collection. Again, my favorite band of the Paisley Underground. Ooh, let's move on to the Bangles. I love the Bangles. The Bangles formed in 1981 in LA. Again, a lot of these bands formed in LA. So yeah, the Bangles, of course, were a 4-piece all-girl group, wonderful 3-part harmonies. I'm going to be focusing on the early Bangles career because that's the most garagey, the most jangly, and it's my favorite era of theirs. So yeah, Susanna Hoffs, of course, is the leader of the group. This is an incredible record to own if you have not heard of this. It's Ladies and Gentlemen, the Bangles. And basically what it is, it was a record store day release from a few years ago, I do believe. It's on yellow vinyl, yellowish orange. And it features their first EP, as well as some live songs and demos. They do a cover of 7 and 7 Is from Love. That's very good. I just think their first EP and the first album I'm about to show you are out of this world amazing. These ladies were so talented, so check out this release right here, as well as All Over the Place, their first full-length album. I do believe Vicki Peterson wrote most of the songs on this album. I mean, all these ladies were talented in their own right, but Vicki was a terrific songwriter, arranger, lead guitarist. So I believe Hero Takes the Fall, which is the first track, I think allegedly that's about Steve Wynn from Dream Syndicate. These girls early on were very garage rock influenced. Those jangly guitars. Perfect slice of jangle pop from the Paisley Underground here with the Bangles. All right, Dream Syndicate are next, and I don't have too many Dream Syndicate albums. I'm going to show you what I own. The Dream Syndicate formed in 1981 with Steve Wynn and Kendra Smith while attending the University of California at Davis. And this album is the one I want to talk about first. The Days of Wine and Roses. Yes. The guitars, the bass, the drums, the vocals, it all is just a perfect blend. It's kind of raw, it's kind of abrasive at times. Very influenced by Velvet Underground, The Byrds. I really like the song Halloween, Tell Me When It's Over. This would be my favorite Dream Syndicate album out of the ones I've heard, and yeah, this is a top album from the Paisley Underground. I've sampled other albums from them, from the 80s in particular, and this one has the fire. This one has the sound I love, so I always come back to this. I think some of their other albums have more of a Americana or country vibe, which is fine. I just prefer that first album. I also have this live LP. This is not the new Dream Syndicate album, and it's okay. Dream Syndicate are still very much active. They play a lot of shows. They have released a few new albums in the last couple of years, which I still need to check out. Amazing band. Another band I wanted to mention that's loosely associated with the Paisley Underground is the Long Ryders. They formed in 1981. I have a couple of their records to show. The first one is my favorite. This is actually an EP, 10560. In their early lineup, I believe they featured Steve Wynn. So this is more of a roots rock band. But this album in particular is probably my favorite because it's the most jangly, it's kind of garagey. I really dig it, so I wanted to show that. And then they're probably most well known for this album, which is Native Sons right here, and it's more folky, more country. Gene Clark actually contributes vocals, and what song is that? I think it's Ivory Tower. I think it's Ivory Tower. So, look at that Rickenbacker on the back there. Boom. Awesome. So yeah, this is a great album. This band was very influenced by Buffalo Springfield, Flying Burrito Brothers, The Byrds. You're gonna get more of that country folky vibe with them. This is another great one, State of Our Union. Oh man, this is a killer band right here, the Pandoras. These girls kick butt. This is more garage, loud, in your face. Yeah, they rock. And Paula Pierce, she was the lead guitarist and vocalist of this group. This is my favorite album. This is their first album, It's About Time. Got the reissue of this because, again, I've seen OGs that go for higher than $35, but this is a great reissue. Garage rock revival, great riffs, great harmonies. Paula Pierce has this growl / scream that I just love. So I wanted to show this one as well as their second album, Stop Pretending. And any Muffs fans out there? If so, Kim Shattuck actually plays on this album. She contributes vocals and bass. So that's pretty cool. Pretty sad that she passed away recently, but she was in the Pandoras early on. Paula Pierce actually died from a brain aneurysm back in 1991. I think she was only 31 years old. So yeah, that's pretty unfortunate. I guess the Pandoras reformed in 2018 or so, and they released an album. I have not heard it or sampled it yet. Let me know if that's good and worth checking out. Okay, this is the last group of the Paisley Underground that I'm going to be talking about, and that is Green on Red. Let me just put these in order super quick. Okay. Green on Red formed in 1979 in Tucson, Arizona. Their early work in particular is very fitting to the Paisley Underground sound. So I recently picked this up off of Discogs because I've never run into it while out record digging. This is their first EP. It's just called Green on Red, and I love the song Death and Angels as well as Aspirin. Yeah. This is so good. I'm glad I got this one. So that one as well as this one really feature a lot of organ and those Doors influences. This is Gravity Talks. I also really adore this record. Steve Wynn actually makes an appearance on this album as well. He was all over the place in the early 80s, making contributions and being cool. Now we're gonna get to Gas Food Lodging, which is probably the album they're best known for. And yeah, somehow I scored a Japanese pressing at one of the Omaha record shows, I think maybe 2 years ago. I saw it for 15 bucks and I just had to snag that. So this is a wonderful album. I believe I also have a cassette copy of it. So a lot of people do start here, and I recommend this album. You get some more Americana and country roots coming in, and which is kind of the direction they went with their later albums. Then I've got this EP, No Free Lunch. It came after Gas Food Lodging. Great band. So now that I've wrapped up talking about the Paisley Underground bands, I wanted to mention this double LP set, which is incredible. I actually got this as VCLT from Vinyl Richie, and this is worth having. So this is a Record Store Day release from 2018, and it features 4 of the key Paisley Underground groups. So the Bangles, the 3 O'Clock, the Dream Syndicate, and Rain Parade. The interesting thing is they're covering each other's songs. So You're My Friend, that was a Rain Parade song, right? Well, Dream Syndicate covers it on here. Jet Fighter was originally by the 3 O'Clock, the Bangles covered it here, and so on. So just kind of a neat concept for a collaboration album. Definitely worth checking out. Let's see, I gotta grab some CDs here on the floor. Okay, I want to talk about the Connells next, and I have 4 CDs of theirs to show. The Connells were great because they kind of integrated some Celtic influences into their jangle pop. So my personal favorite is Boylan Heights. Also a gem because Mitch Easter produced this, and everything he touched was just excellent and gold. So yeah, this is incredible. The Connells, 2 brothers were in the band. Michael Connell, he played guitar. David Connell played bass. So that's one to check out. And another favorite of mine that I have is Fun and Games, which is very power pop as well. And then I've got 2 others. I got One Simple Word and Ring. Just love the Connells. They apparently have been working on a new album. The last I read, it's supposed to be out this year. It could be next year. But yeah, the band members, they all have other respective careers and families that they focus on a lot. So I'm kind of thankful that they're working on a new album. It'll be nice to hear. All right, next, I think someone made a request that I talk about this band. It's the Jazz Butcher. They were also known as the Jazz Butcher Conspiracy. They formed in 1982 in Oxford, England. Pat Fish is the leader of the group. He's very quirky. The music is pretty eclectic. It's fun, kind of interesting lyrics, but I have Sex and Travel, and this is an EP. Fantastic grouping of songs here. Only a Rumor, that's a favorite track, and Walk with the Devil. That's another good one. This band was definitely an influence on 90s Britpop. They have many albums. Okay, moving on to the Wooden Tops. The Wooden Tops formed in 1983 in London, and this is my favorite album of theirs. It's called Giant. Look at that hype sticker. That's pretty cool. Yeah, so the Wooden Tops are, I would describe them as bouncy pop. I mean, you just want to snap your fingers. Pretty upbeat. I know Morrissey was a huge fan of this band. Like, he has praised them a lot. Kind of a nerdy band, but I dig them a lot. This other album of theirs is called Wooden Foot Cops on the Highway. Another hype sticker. My friend Jess introduced me to this band. So yeah, they're worth checking out if you like more of the acoustic pop stuff from the 80s. The production is also really impressive on those albums. I think they also did another album in 2013 or 2014. I have yet to sample that. Okay, I was surprised as heck to run into this at a store down in Lincoln. And I've never seen anything from the Verlaines, so yeah, I was pretty stoked. This is the first album from the Verlaines. They formed in 1981 in New Zealand. Graham Downs is the leader of the group. This is actually a gatefold as well. This is on captured tracks. Some intricate artwork on there. Pretty interesting. So yes, this is their first album, and they have many albums. I showed this on my Instagram account, and people were saying, oh, you need to check out their second and third albums as well. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do next. Not strictly jangle pop. They throw in some interesting orchestrations into their music as well, but I thought I would include them because I've talked about the Chills and the Clean, you know, the other New Zealand bands in the past, so the Verlaines. Another pickup, I just thought I would show a collection update. Guadalcanal Diary's Jamboree, which I found for $3.50. That was a pretty good price. Found that in, it must have been up in Sioux City. They have a store up there. So yeah, I featured Guadalcanal Diary in my second Jangle Pop installment, so I picked this one up just recently. Okay, now I want to show two compilation CDs that were generously sent to me from You Are the Cosmos, that record label. Pedro Vizcano got in touch with me from the label and asked if he could send me two of these comps, and I said, sure, that would be great. That's awesome. So this is the first installment of 12 String High. Really cool artwork on there. And the first song that I played as my intro to this video is actually the first track on this album. And I'm sorry if the track listing doesn't come through that great. So you've got 23 jangly tracks on this one. It says A New Jingle Jangle Adventure. So that's volume 1 of 12 String High. And then he also sent volume 3. Some Rickenbackers in there, 12 strings. And this one has 22 tracks. So thank you so much, Pedro. That was awesome. I'm enjoying the heck out of these. Okay, so that wraps up my Jangle Pop Part 3, as well as the whole Jangle Pop series. I really enjoyed doing this. I love sharing my love of these subgenres with you guys. In the future, I'm planning either the next video or the one after. I'm going to be doing a massive shoegaze update. I know I've been promising that for like a year now. My bad. I am finally going to be getting to that because I've gotten a lot of requests for the shoegaze update. I want to repeat something that David over at Naz Nomad said on his channel probably a couple of videos ago. ELE. Everybody love everybody. We're all here to talk about music. At least I thought we were, right? So let's just love everyone. Let's watch each other's videos. Let's support each other. Spin some tunes. Enjoy your life. We're all in this together. We're all going through this horrible year together. See you next time, you guys. Bye.